welcome to Nigeria Today, a journalist rendezvous on trending issues as it concerns Nigeria. My name is Mwagiri Chukwuchike. Before going to the main show, let us look at some of the headlines from some of our national dailies. We'll start from the Vanguard. 2023, APC remains the party to beat, says Governor Uzodinma. Movement for gender equality is a fight for sustainable development of Nigeria. United Nations Women Representative Comfort Lamti. Omahi responds to Federal High Court's judgment, a disregard to rule of law. Local government autonomy, a political ruse, deceptive, that's according to Akeredolu. God not happy with Nigeria. Buhari can't rescue Nigeria from worsening economic security predicaments, that's according to Governor Autumn of Benue State. Insecurity, elections may not hold in 270 polling units in Niger, that's according to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Gloves off, Obaseki, Wike fights dating over party issues. These are some of the headlines from Vanguard newspaper. Now over to Punch. ASU extends strike to May. Parents beg. FG says demands met. Babysitter strangles toddler, says court demanded victim's blood. Now let's move on to the Sun. The Sun has the following headlines. APC convention still shaky as form sales yet to begin. Now the next headline on APC on the Punch newspaper is from Anambra State. Soludo's government will be an icing on the cake for Anambra. That's according to Obi Obolu. Let's get to this day newspaper. Talking about the same ASU strike that affected the convocation ceremony that should have been holding at Unical. ASU strike, Unical postpones convocation ceremony. Nationwide blackout as power grid collapses again. Convention, microzoning tearing APC apart amid leadership crisis. Wike attacks Obaseki, calls him serial betrayer, ungrateful. And then finally, let's look at the headline from Daily Independent. Police dismiss claim of strike as fake. And then Nigeria Tribune says NNPC said to grant alien operators license to import aviation turbine kerosene, that's the aviation fuel. How I was initiated into witchcraft, that's the primary school. In primary school, that's a 15-year-old nanny who killed her boss lady. These are some of the headlines from some of our national leagues. And then let's move over to the talk of the day. But before then, let me welcome my senior colleagues who are here with me today. Chimese Ozems. Ozems, welcome.
Thank you for having me on the program. Welcome, viewers.
Thank you very much. I am happy that Mr. Ozems, the smile is contagious, very contagious. And the fame man in our midst, Prof.
Viewers, you're welcome, and Mr. Moderator, thank you for having me.
Your smile almost made me forget that your name is Chinedu Adiele. Pardon me for that, please. Pardon me. So let's get into the crux of the matter. We're going to be discussing on a few things today. First of all is a statement by Adamu, the Minister of Education. He says that President Muhammadu Buhari's administration is committed to quality education in Nigeria. I mean, is this just a mere statement, or do we see evidence on ground as to this particular commitment? Prof, let me hear from you.
Well, there is a common saying in our dialect, if translated, it says, there is no reasonable child that ever abuses the mother's cook. And that is to say, Adamu is saying this because he is benefiting from the government. With what is on ground today, the ASU strike, not just about the ASU strike, the extension, about 4 more weeks or thereabout, it is enough to tell us that Buhari is doing a lot to ensure quality education in Nigeria. I think this is mockery. It is the mockery of the highest order, because I've not seen anything on ground to indicate that. And when we're talking about education, if education is what it is, or what we had believed it should be, why would most of them in power send their children abroad to go and study? It's just because they know that the education here is nothing to write home about.
So invariably you're saying that the statement is on one side while the action is on the other side?
Yes, it's mockery. In fact, it's mockery.
Do you totally
There is no reality in it.
Yes, I think I'm on the same page with Professor Chinedu Madiele. It's like the voice of Jacob and the hand of Esau. That is exactly what is happening. Although the minister is entitled to his opinion, but I want to say that he is not economical with the truth. When you consider what is happening today,
he is or is not.
He is not. When you consider what is happening in the education sector, the best way to destroy a people, you talk about their culture and tradition, and the next is education. So they are gradually and consistently destroying Nigeria through education. That is what is happening. There's nothing that shows that the federal government is committed in ensuring that we have quality and qualitative education in Nigeria.
Evidence has been.
If, for instance, what is happening right now, the ASU gave 2 weeks, that is 4 weeks, warning strike. What will it take the government? Just about a week or two to have gone through with us. And this is an arrangement made before now. They had agreed before now. Until today, it is not implemented. And then you're talking about quality education. There are some who are supposed to have their convocation, others are supposed to have gone into exams, and then you're delaying a course of 4 years. Will now run into 6, 7, 8 years, and then you're telling us we're having quality education. If you're talking about quality education, the lecturers, the teachers, the absolute should be taken proper care of, so that in those days when banking was banking, the bankers are well paid. Why? Because you don't want them to look into the people's money or steal from the people. That is why they are well paid. But in Nigerian education, in the educational system of this country, there is nothing like that. And they have extended these to another 4 weeks, and nothing is said about it.
Well, I'm a product of a public primary school, public secondary school, and the public university as well. And I know the challenges of pass through. One of the problems we have is this issue of supervision. You know, the grassroots, the roots has always been the problem. You look at our secondary school, our primary school today, nobody wants to send a child to public school. Everybody's sending their children to private institutions. Why? Because that place, things are being monitored. Teachers are being monitored. I do not think anybody is going to function effectively where there is no serious supervision.
I disagree with you on that.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes.
Because have you gone around the public schools we have around our state here and some other places? I'm not sure you have. Our own days in the primary public school, it was quite different. When you talk about supervision, it's a different ball game. But today, most of the schools, most of the classroom blocks are so dilapidated. And because teachers are not paid, there is no any teacher in the public school that has no shade in area or the new market. And what time do they have? I remember my mother as a teacher, I remember that we used to assist my mom if you come back from school in writing scheme of work and note of lesson. Today, how many teachers have that time to prepare scheme of work and note of lesson on our lesson note? You now see, so when you talk about that is not why people are not sending their words to public school. Because the teachers, because they are not taken care of, and they have lost interest in the teaching profession.
So they should quit.
Well, yes.
It's not a question of quitting, because some of them are professional teachers. And at their age, it is impossible to learn a trade or a vocation.
But sorry, when you were growing up, this teaching profession was more of like a heavily rewarded, kind of thing. But today, people that taught people like you, I'm sure we're teaching it out of passion.
It was an erroneous impression.
Passion, guy.
That's very erroneous.
It's very erroneous.
Yes.
A teacher is a human being. He has bills to pay. He has children.
What do you know that was you paying bills?
But they were paying promptly as I went due there. No matter how little it was, no matter how little it was.
Of teachers.
At that time, just like Nedu said, our salaries were very regular. It was coming at the right time, and they were able to plan. And that is why when you see teachers, they were able to give their children the best education money can afford. With that little salary, with that stipend, they were able to survive. But today, it's a different thing altogether. I want to tell you that many of them are still in that very profession because they don't have a choice.
Even then, teachers then, they may not have a very bogus lifestyle, but they were able to train their children to universities. There's something that is happening in one of the schools, because I don't want to sound as if I am indicting the government, but I know one of the schools here had to even, a higher institution, standard of higher learning, had to announce that whether you are paid or not, if your children cannot afford to pay, they should not come to school. Meanwhile, where a father is a lecturer in such an institution and the mother is a lecturer, where do you expect them to get the money to pay?
Well, I know we're going to keep talking about this even till the end of the show if we keep talking, because it pains us. I think the government should put words to action. When we say we are committed, the commitment should be shown all around. Okay, the institution whereby I think one of us said he attended an event where they calculated the strike between 1999 to it's about 8 years or so cumulatively. That is not supposed to be so. There is a lot of changes needs to be done. Now let's get into the current, the trending issue in Ebonyi State, where Federal High Court declared the seat occupied by David Umahi as not rightfully his, having defected from the People's Democratic Party to APC. The court ruled that the vote was for the party and not for Umahi, because he ran under a political platform. He wasn't an independent candidate. Now, Umahi himself is saying that that is against the rule of law. However, the National Association of Nigerian Students have declared their support for David Umahi, saying practically, I think he's performing, and then that he should be allowed to finish his tenure. I mean, is it right in Nigeria, the way our elected officials migrate from one political party to another when there are issues to settle? Instead of settling the issue, they find another political platform where they become the king. Is that supposed to be so? Is the right thing to do? Are we supposed to support Umahi? Are we supposed to support PDP, who is asking him to relinquish their mandate for them, having left their party to another party, for another party?
When you look at Nigeria, I want to tell you that politics is very lucrative. It brings a maximum return on investment, and that is why a political office holder will find it comfortable to defect from one party to another. And if you consider that, I want to tell you that it is doing a lot of disservice to us. Our democracy cannot deepen, and you have to consider that we are the largest democracy in Africa. You cannot tell me that Umahi, he won that election on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, and suddenly he jumped out and went to APC. He is not an independent candidate on that very election. So I think that vote is for PDP and not for Umahi.
Okay. I also think that political party is like father and son. It's just like the parents and the children. You discover that your name cannot just be Chooks. It's incomplete. And when we say my name, you're talking about both, because it's a compound noun. You're talking about your name and your surname. And you discover there is no child without a surname. A child without a surname is like a bastard. And because both by the constitutional provision of these political parties, there is no independent candidate, except such a law will be promulgated tomorrow. It had happened sometime, but now it is not there. And the reason, if you had some parts of, I'm not a lawyer, but some part of the Constitution will tell you that it is the party. You don't run as an independent, it is the party. And it is the party that owns the vote.
Yes.
And a lot of people who vote, it's just like what has been consistently happening in the state here. There are in so many places they will tell you, even dress a goat on a suit. What is a particular political party? The person will scale through. That's exactly what happened. If we should follow the law, outside the law, if we should follow philosophically and even the law of karma, you will know that it is the political party that owns the vote.
So you're saying that why you should leave the seat for PDP?
In fact, the law has said it. And that judge is very right. It is very wrong for you to run around the party after a while. Tell me, how did PDP offend him? What brought about this that cannot be settled? And this is a man that has been a pride of the people because of the level of development he has done over the years. And I remember vividly what the one-time chairman of APC said sometime. He openly said it, that no matter the degree of corruption, the moment you you switch over to APC, your sins will be forgiven.
Yes.
Does it mean that Omai has some skeletons in his cupboard? That is what led to his defecting to APC, just like what is happening in Cross River today.
Ayade's case. Yes.
Ayade's case. So you now ask yourself, what is it? What did he say first? And remember, as at the time they had this mandate from the people through PDP, APC never won any election in the southeast as at that time. Those who tried all failed. So why would you use the name of a political party after having given you their mandate, and all of a sudden you want to abandon it for no cause?
Okay, gentlemen, we'll be back in a jiffy. We'll be going for a short break. However, remember that this particular program is trending live on our YouTube channel, that's Living Television. And remember to also go to our Facebook page, that's also Living Television. We are going to be back in a jiffy. Don't go nowhere.
Admission is ongoing at Living TV Film Academy, Aba, Abia State, for candidates wishing to study filmmaking and mass communication for skill certificate training and degree programs, including mandatory NYSC post-degree service. Courses offered are Department of Journalism and Media Studies, Broadcast Journalism, TV Presentation, Photojournalism, Department of Film and Multimedia Studies, Cinematography, Acting, Video Editing, Film Production, Website Designing, Modeling and Makeup, Bead Making, Screenwriting, Theatre Arts, Department of Broadcasting, Script Writing, Journalism, Reporting, Software Programming, Mobile and Web App Development, Audio Production, Graphic Designing, Digital Animation, Special Effects, Social Media Management. Entry qualifications: candidates must possess 5 credits in WASICAM GCE, NAPTEB or equivalent. We have the following technical infrastructure for students' skills acquisition: an arts theatre well equipped for modern digital television and radio studios open for hire to the public, an audio suite for music production, soundtracks, sound effects, jingles and voice-over, etc. A 50 feet by 40 feet chroma studio, largest in Africa for special effects, world-class rendering facilities for post-production rendering, animation and cartoon technology, assorted professional cameras, drones, etc. A film village with epic and village houses for theatre arts and epic films making. Our studies are skill-oriented with well-qualified academic and technical teachers. We also admit students on industrial training and internship from other institutions. Professional license will be issued to graduates to practice as professionals by Bollywood, a registered professional organization for filmmakers. Wow, what are you waiting for? Rush now and obtain our admission form with 2,000 naira only at our main campus, number 1 Judges Road, 5th floor, former UBA House by NEPA, Waterside Descent, Aba, Abia State, Nigeria, or visit our website, livingradio.com.ng, the Academy, www.livingtvfilmacademy.com, email livingtvfilmacademy@gmail.com, or call 0805 367 3900 or 0816 641 1400. Signed, Registrar.
Welcome back. The program is still Nigeria Today on Living Television, and I still have my senior colleagues in the building. Mr. Chimeze Ozems, please, you're still with us.
Yes.
And Chinedu Madiel is still with us.
Yeah.
All right, so we were talking about the PDP issue, but that's with Omahi before we left for the break. However, we're going to leave that story. Let's get into another one. ASU has extended their strike by 8 weeks. That's 2 months.
Yeah.
The warning strike was a month, and nothing has been done. Now we hear that it's been extended for 8 weeks. Is there any hope for education? The Buhari just said he's committed to education, and all of a sudden ASU is extending their strike. Are we saying opposite or attacking issues on this particular one now?
That was why I said the statement by Elijah Damadamu is a mockery. You know, it's a mockery to the academic system of this country. You know, they gave 1 month warning strike. After the 1 month, what happened? And now they've extended it. Even a blind man will know that the government have not played their role. They've not done what they were supposed to do, and that is why they are extending it. And though it might not be what is happening now might not be affecting the ruling class, because I doubt how many of them that have their children in Nigerian universities, they all are studying abroad. That automatically means that this is a very big neglect to the academic system of this country, because they are not here. And that is why it will be difficult for this country to get better. That is why we are praying that this amendment bill, the electoral amendment bill, is going to help a lot for people to choose, not just political parties, but individuals that have the interest of the masses and the interest of this country at heart.
All right, so, okay, no problem. Let's
still on that very issue, if we can remember, I know that UNESCO, they recommended that 26% of the national budget of a country should be devoted to education. I don't think that's the situation in Nigeria. Ours is less than 5%. So it becomes impossible for the education sector to grow. And the lecturers, they are not greedy. They are not only asking for an improvement in their welfare. They are saying, let us have a conducive environment that will make teaching and learning very enjoyable. That's exactly what they are asking for. And not only an improvement in their welfare. So they are fair enough. But it does appear that the government is not in a hurry to meet their demand. It's not good for our kids.
Not good for our kids, that's according to Mr. Chimizie Ozems. Now, back in the time of former President Obasanjo, Lagos State created local development areas, and then the allocation was withheld, even though they survived it. Now, the governor, Akerelu, has now said that it shouldn't be the federal government, it should be the state that should determine the number of local governments needed for there to be effective running of local government areas. He also says that the current LG autonomy by the federal government is just a ruse. It doesn't make sense. It makes caricature of our, democracy. I mean, do you people think that this man is making sense in this particular regard?
The time the Lagos State government had that local governments created, that was also the time Ojus Okalo was on seat here. He also created one or two like Osioma North. Yes, he did all that. But that of the Lagos held because they have enough resources to take care of it. That of Osioma never worked. Why are people craving for autonomy, local government autonomy? Before now, when you talk about the 3 tiers of government, they were supposed to be independent. Each is supposed to stand aloof of its own.
Let me be direct with you. Do you think it is the prerogative of the state to determine the number of local governments they want?
Yes, to talk about that. Yes, it should be the local government, it should be the state. But because the state cannot finance the local government, instead, most of the things that come from the national to the local government through the state, they are tampered with. That is why the local government are not functioning, they are not working. While the governor is doing the state roads and even encroaching into the federal roads, the local government is supposed to take care of the rural roads.
The feeder roads.
The feeder roads. And so when you look at this, they are not doing anything. No local government is not even ordinary grading and so on. And the whole thing, the whole burden now is on the state government. It's not supposed to be so, and that is why people are crying for local government autonomy, financial autonomy.
So, do you think they should go ahead if they can cater for the local governments, create as much as they want?
I wonder how that will be possible when you consider the position of some states. In fact, paucity of funds have made it impossible for some state governments to embark on certain projects, and not to talk about creation and financing of new local government areas. It's completely impossible. So it falls on the federal government to create and finance local government areas because of the huge allocation that comes from the federal revenue. I don't see any state within the southeast that will be able to finance and create a new local government area. It's impossible. That cannot be done.
Okay.
Not just about the when you talk about creating local government, I think the state can make recommendations since they cannot fund the local government. And even when the federal government tries to give allocations to the local government, these allocations are tampered with. So because of that, that is why the autonomy is needed. But they can always make recommendations because they are here. They know the local governments. They are also indigenous of their various states. So they should know the local governments that are overpopulated and also demand for creation of the local government via the approval of the federal government because they are the chief sponsors.
Sometime last year, a young girl was taken from Anambra State to Lagos State, where she is supposed to function as a nanny. This young girl says she belongs to a cult group called Ogoloma Cult Group. She was supposed to be taking care of her boss baby, but something happened. According to reports, she said that the cult group asked her to bring the blood of the child, and she said she can't afford it, but they said she must do it. Now, along the line, this young girl had to obey, according to her, what the court told her. Though the police said she strangled the baby. Now, in our society today, a lot of persons are anchoring on this spiritual attack and all that, and then perpetrating evil. When you catch them, they blame the devil. In our society today, what do you think we should do to curtail the level of violence we experience in our homes? Look at the young girl of 15 years, blaming courtesan as a reason why she strangled a baby that was supposed to be taken care of by her. Do we really need to take it? What drastic steps do our government, our people, everybody needs to take to turn this particular tide that is actually rising in our country?
Well, if I am asked, I think in the first place, irrespective of the level of immoral acts and decadence in the society, the major function of the government is the protection of life and property. Protection of life.
Is it possible for a government to protect a life
now,
inside a room?
I am coming.
Okay.
I am coming. I've talked about the society and its evil.
Okay.
And why is this evil increasing on daily basis? It is very common that the idle man is the devil's workshop. Take for instance, our children are back home now. And very soon, you hear a lot of stories about ritual killing, the boys wanting to engage them in one thing or the other, in a lot of social devices. If anything happens as a result of their being at home, who would you blame for that? The government, of course. Because if these children are back there in school, busy reading and trying to pass their exams, prescribed exams, you see they will have no time for most of these social vices. In as much as we agree that a greater percentage of our youths today are embarking on easy money-making ventures, and which has led to this. But what are we doing? What is the government doing to curtail this? A lot of people who are going to go back home as the school is on strike, not 100% of all of them are going to go back to school.
Mr. Zem, do you still
Yes,
blame the government?
I don't think it's only the federal government. I want to say that what we are witnessing in society, every facet of society should be blamed for what is happening. Because today we are placing undue emphasis on wealth acquisition, and we are paying a very heavy price for it.
Very important.
Today we don't do a background check on somebody who says I am rich. Even in the church today, people are honored not because they are righteous, not because they have accepted salvation, but because they are rich. We give honors to people who doesn't deserve it. That's exactly what is happening. And so everybody wants to acquire rich in order to be relevant in society. So we are paying heavily for it, and it will not stop. There is an erosion of our societal values. In the past, you will agree with me that in a community, teachers were honored, their views were respected, and they were highly sought after. But today, that has changed. Wealth acquisition, business, Ike Pentecost.
I just feel we're going to continue this next time. I'm most grateful to
before we continue
grateful.
next time. It is very, very important for us to know that, in fact, just like Ozem said, in all facets of our society, everybody should be involved. The churches have failed woefully.
Yes.
They have failed woefully. Most of our parents are no more giving that level of admonition that helps the children to grow. The emphasis are laid on comparing them with their peers, who you don't know how they made their money and so on. So because of this, everybody is involved. And I keep saying it, government have not done well. When you elected a local government chairman, you know how he was when he left to become the chairman. As he's coming back, as he's coming down after 4 years or 8 years, he becomes richer and want to take 12 chieftaincy titles. And what example are you setting? Every other person that is coming up sees politics as no more system and style of governance, but a way of going to make money. And when such things happen, what examples are we leaving for the upcoming ones?
Well, my people, this is where we're going to call it a day on this particular program today. But I want to tell you out there, parent, if you're able to afford a nanny in your house, you should be able to afford a good surveillance system, which you can use to monitor what happens in your house. I do not believe that a crime will just you initiate a crime and just finish at the same time. Please install CCTV camera, that's closed circuit television cameras in your house, so that you monitor what those nannies are doing to your children when you're not at home. I am so saddened by this particular event, but I'm not going to end this particular program on a sad note. So I say thank you so much, Chimezie Ozebs.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Chinedu Madiele.
Thank you always.
We will see you next time. Don't forget to go to our Facebook page at Living Television, like and comment. Also on YouTube, Living Television. Send us your feedback. We will definitely get back to you. From me, Mwagiri Chukujike. Bye for now.